Hi, and welcome back to the tutorial video series on G2T training. This particular video is going to be covering the options available in creating your class or session. Hopefully you still have your web browser open with the G2T training website, again, so you can get the hands-on experience with walking through the steps as you're watching this tutorial video. Now, once you're done scheduling the class or session, it brings you to this page where you're going to be managing your training for whatever class session you create. Now, the title and description have already been created in the previous steps. You can review that, and if you would like to edit anything, then you can simply click the edit button and change whatever you would like to. Same thing with the date and time. However, a couple other features I want to point out here. If you have an upcoming session that has not passed and for whatever reason you need to cancel it, this is exactly where you will come to do that. Also, if you want to add this information to your iCal, all you need to do is simply click on Add to Calendar and it will do that for you automatically. Now, when it comes to the organizers, of course, you're going to be automatically set up as the scheduling organizer because you're using your account. However, you do have the option of creating a co-organizer. A co-organizer can be an associate course director or a co-worker or even possibly a guest speaker. Anybody who is currently a staff member with Full Sail and is listed as an account holder, you can go over to the edit button. It will give you a drop-down menu of the different staff members available. You'll simply choose the staff member that you would like to indicate as a co-organizer and then simply click on Save. Now, once you dedicate somebody as a co-organizer, they will have the availability of opening the session, facilitating the actual class, recording the archives, and doing all of the administrative steps necessary. Now, the audio is going to default to having your students have access to using the VoIP or voice over IP system. They can also use the long distance number. However, I would like to make sure that you let your students know that if they use the phone, long distance charges may apply. Now, the next one is the registration and payment. Clearly, we're not going to be having any payments because students have already paid for our classes, but there's a couple things under registration that I think would be very helpful for you to know. Number one, this is where the URL address is generated that will allow your students to sign up or register for your class. This is also where the training ID is created. Now, another really important feature that I think might be helpful is when you click on Edit, you'll notice that there is a question tab. If you attended any of the G2T trainings, you would have noticed that you were required to put in your first name, your last name, and your email address. Now, these three questions are defaulted in the registration system that anybody registering for the class has to complete those questions. But you as the organizer, you can have them create or answer additional questions, and you can even come down here where it says create your own question and come up with anything again that you would like your students to have to answer while they're registering for the class. This way you will receive that information prior to the session starting. Now, this question can be optional, or you can come over here and click where it says required, and then it will require all registrants to complete that question. And keep in mind, this can be very helpful in priming your students or pre-exposing them to the content. You can ask for them to possibly rate their level of proficiency in what you're getting ready to talk about in the session. You can also tie this question into any required reading that they were supposed to do before the live session, whatever you think would be helpful. Now, anytime you do make any edits, of course, you'll want to save your changes and then return to the Manage Training page. Now, another feature that I think is hugely beneficial is the materials for the attendees. Now, this is not necessarily just the information that you plan on providing during the live session, but instead, this is materials that you can upload, such as PDF asset files, articles. You can upload keynote presentations, PowerPoint presentations. You can even use the add web links if you would like your students to go through a website website, view a video. But the difference between these materials and what we normally use in these platforms is you can make these materials available either before the live session or during the live session or after the live session. So you want to look at them more as reinforcement materials as opposed to just the information that you're going to be using to deliver the content. Now, after materials, you'll notice that Go2 Training also allows you to conduct tests and polls. Now, these features work much like the previous platform that we used. The only difference between the test and the polls is the test questions actually allow you to create several different types of tests. You can choose true, false, multiple choice one answer, multiple choice multiple answers, or a short answer. The other difference is that you can indicate what the right answer is, or I'm sorry, what the wrong answer is, and that feedback will be provided to your students immediately. Now, the poll questions work, again, very similar. However, you cannot indicate the wrong answer, and it only allows you to create either a multiple choice with one answer or multiple choice with multiple answers. Now, we're going to talk about being able to pull a report later on in a future video, and if you use the testing feature, there are some reports that you would be able to pull, including what students answered the question, what their answers were, statistically what was the percentage of students getting the answer correct, and some additional important information. Now, the evaluation for attendees is another new feature that I think might be very valuable. The evaluation for the attendees allows you to push out a survey either immediately after the session, or you can send the survey out in a future email to your students. This is a lot like if you've ever attended a CE session through faculty development. You'll receive a survey asking for feedback after you've attended the session, and you can use this evaluation tool to do the same thing. So you can have your students give you insight into what information they would like additional clarification on, what part of the session was most helpful, what part they would like more coverage, or anything like that you think would be helpful. And then going back to the Manage Training page, the last couple, please excuse that email, the last couple features that I want to talk about, catalogs we're actually going to talk about in a future video. So email. The email automatically puts your name and your email as the recipient of any information that's connected to this particular session or class, but you can change that. And you would want to do this if you set a co-organizer and you thought the information would be best suited to go directly to them. Then you're able to do that simply by hitting edit and then changing the email address that it defaulted to. Now, a couple other features under email. You can also set reminder emails to go out to your students. The system allows you to send a reminder email 1 week before the live class, 1 day before the live class, and 1 hour before the live class. You can come in here and personalize the body of that email message, but I also wanted you to be aware that the system defaults to providing them information on how to join the training, so that information is readily available for them. And then the last feature is a follow-up email. The system is going to default to not sending a follow-up email, but you can certainly come in here again and simply click on Send Follow-Up Email to the attendees. You have the option of sending that out either 1 day after the live class up to 7 days after the live class. And again, you can come in here and change the body of the email and send whatever information you think is going to be helpful for them to know after the live session. And that pretty much covers the way that you would personalize, or the options that you have available when you're creating your class. Now, at the end of each of these tutorial videos, I am going to provide this information on further support. I apologize for the repetitiveness, but I want to make sure this information is conveniently located. If you do need additional information, please feel free to contact Go2 Training. From their website, you can access their email address, their chat, or you can call. They are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you do choose to contact them directly, which we want to encourage you to do so, you will need to let them know that you're working on the Go2 training platform and that you are working with a corporate account. You can also contact FSO support and faculty development for additional guidance or information. Thanks so much.